stellarium. And I'm going to back out here. Let's see our date and time. I'm at 3500 BC right now. And I'm going to move the, you can see the sun here on the meridian line at the bottom. And this is to prove to you we're at midnight here. I'm also at the winter solstice. And what we have here, this was the winter solstice at 3500 BC. And what we have here is the constellation Cygnus, right here where my mouse cursor is. And so what we have in this constellation is the representation of the solar hero. And while this is a representation right now of the rebirth of the phoenix, or the birth of God, the birth of Jesus, we have right here. And so if I fast forward a month, what we start to see is how Cygnus rises. And when Cygnus is at its pinnacle, we have the summertime. And as Cygnus falls, we have the death of the phoenix. And close to what would be Thanksgiving time in our time, and I'll fast forward for us so we can view this today. What we have here is, if I get rid of the constellation art, we have the cross. This is the northern cross of Cygnus. So you have the sun deity dying on the cross. Now, if we keep fast forwarding, what we have here is now we're around Thanksgiving time. And my impression of this, when this all came together, and knowing the founders of our nation were Freemasons and know this information, and the research that I've done on the actual history of Christmas, the actual history of Easter, they're all pagan holidays. That's what they are. And I believe Thanksgiving is no different. It's not about the Indians and the pilgrims sitting down and having a big feast together. Even the definition of turkey is brought to us from actual turkeys that were in Africa, in the country itself, Turkey. And the name we give the bird turkey here in America is actually incorrect. It is not of that species or category to be called a turkey. And they say, oh, this was just a mistake, and that it was incorrectly identified at the time. But then why do we still have the name turkey is my question. And so I found this connection between the timing of Cygnus dying and the representation of Thanksgiving and the death of this turkey, and then the rebirth at Christmas time of the bird Cygnus. And we have this rebirth, we have the death, and then we have the rebirth of the phoenix. And if we look, I started to find some correlations between this and the actual country Turkey. And if we look up what is known as Melek Tos, or otherwise known as the peacock angel, we'll find what we find here is what I believe is another representation of the phoenix. And we have here the peacock angel on top of a sun symbol and a moon symbol here. And what we find is that they are worshipers of the peacock angel. And it's no coincidence, this is the symbol of NBC. We find that they worship the peacock angel, who was also known as the bringer of light, who was also known as Lucifer. And they are Kurdistani people who worship this deity, and they are considered to be Luciferians by the Muslims, and they undergo terrorist attacks, unfortunately, almost every day, because they are believed to be Satan worshippers, when in actuality they are one of the oldest religions in the world. And it's just unfortunate that they are being destroyed by Muslims and by Christians. By Christians who believe this to be a satanic deity. But my connection here is the fact that not only are you going to find these worshipers in northern Iraq, you're going to find them in Turkey. And so we have the connection between this phoenix bird and Turkey, and the misnaming of the turkey that we symbolically eat and kill on Thanksgiving Day, and then is resurrected or is born on Christmas Day. And then you have the resurrection. You have the resurrection here on Easter. And so you have this continual cycle of Cygnus, up and down, representing the eternal struggle, representing life and death, representing balance. So I'd like to just show you real quick Cygnus, that it was once our pole star, and even more importance, especially to the ancient people. And here we can see Cygnus circling. Actually, you know what? I think it was 15,000. You can see Cygnus here circling and being the main point of the sky of north. And not only is Cygnus the pole star, but what must have been beautiful was the fact that it was on the galactic plane line. It was on the Milky Way. And so they just saw this brightness coming from this constellation in this central point, and you can just see Cygnus rotating there. I'd also want to show you that at 3500 BC, if we go to their spring equinox, I'm going to go to the spring equinox. I'm going to bring the ground back, and we're going to go back to the sunrise, heliacal sunrise. And as the sun rises on the spring equinox, what we have Cygnus here, right here. And Cygnus starts to rise. And right as the sun comes up, we have Cygnus in the Milky Way completely perpendicular to the east. And we have the phoenix rising. There it is. And there's the sun rising. And so it just must have been magnificent to see this what they believe to be this bird deity coming straight out of the ground, and underneath it, just a magical tail of light represented by the Milky Way, and that's represented here by the peacock angel. And so you can see it. The Milky Way would be here, and then you have the birth of the sun coming out during the spring equinox. It just must have been unbelievable. So I'm just going to show you guys a modern look now. We'll come back to 2012. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. And I want to show you how Cygnus still works today in alignment with our holidays. So we're going to go to Thanksgiving time. What is Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving falls on the 4th Thursday of November. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the 22nd. So we can notice here, if we get rid of the constellation, we can see Cygnus, and we can see the cross. This represents the death of the bird. And the most important thing about this when you're doing this is, I should have done this a little better, is to be at midnight, the lowest point of the sun. So I set my time here at 0, and I think this will show up a little better. So here we have Thanksgiving time. Let's do this again. And we have the cross. We have the cross here, the death. This represents the death of Cygnus, the death of the phoenix. Now we come forward. Now we're at Christmas time. We're at the lowest point. Now if we come forward, we see that Cygnus has been born. We come to the Easter, or the resurrection moment, where he is now climbing to the top of the sky. And at the highest point, during July, we have him at the top. So we still have this representation of the phoenix to this day. But the important part, in order to view this properly, is to be at midnight, time-wise. So I really think that this information really is irrefutable. It's in the stars, and it is the true representation of the phoenix. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.